Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. It is Monday, March the 17th. We are live at the New York Stock Market afternoon session. Glad you can join us. All right. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm going to start off taking a look at news for today. I don't think there's any news today, but let me just double check.
Morning.
For the 17th. Today, oh yes, there was some core retail sales, on a Monday morning. Wow. So retail sales, and were the two red news. Don't know if they had any impact on the market. I can take a boo. Did you notice anything, George, with retail sales?
Well, there was some movement, but it wasn't a big deal.
Okay. I'll take a look at. Oh, they've messed up my screen here. I'm gonna have to switch. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to switch these to Euro US dollar and this one to US dollar. Okay, so looking at Euro US dollar versus the US dollar, Euro US dollar is at the top, US dollar at the bottom on the, let me go to the 1 hour time frame. So we've got a weak US dollar currently. So very weak. And a strong euro versus US dollar. So what that, again, for all those traders who are in the Forex world, weak US dollar gives us a strong Aussie US dollar. Should be giving us a strong Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still not thinking about it. Bitcoin looks like it's thinking about it, ready to start pushing back to the upside here. Euro US dollar, of course, strong. GBP US dollar would be very strong. Beautiful setup. New Zealand US dollar would be very strong as well. And again, another beautiful setup. USD CAD should be weak, and it is. USD Swiss should be weak, and USD JPY should be weak. You know, USD JPY is bucking the trend a little bit. It's not as weak. It's got some strength against the US dollar. All right, look at silver. Silver is quite neutral right now. Big, huge fourth wave we're in. Gold, also neutral, but trying to push above 3,000. So we did break 3,000. We were looking for 3,000 from last week, and we did make it. So it still has lots of room to continue going here to the upside. Oil is weak currently. Interesting. Okay, so let's take a look at the Fab 7, or the Magnificent 7 as they call them, right? Apple. Apple is down quite a bit. Amazon also down. What else do we have? Google, neutral. Everything's struggling, eh? Yeah, let's see what I haven't looked at IBM forever. IBM is not doing too badly. Trying to make a push back to the upside there. Meta, down quite a bit. It was flying high just not too long ago. What, 695 area, 690, and now we're down at 590, so quite a drop. Microsoft, trying to get back up there. So MicroStrategy is trying to push back as well after quite a drop. NVIDIA also trying to push back to the upside. So it looks like we might be getting a slight turn in the markets here. Qs are trying to turn a little bit as well, but still tough going overall, I would say. Tesla down right now, down quite a bit actually. And yeah, Visa down. Broadcom neutral. So yeah, lots of stocks there to look at and so forth. But yeah, those are the major guys. Let's see what the NAS is doing currently. NAS is trying to push up. They go down to the 15. It's really trying to push up here, but it's in a bit of a struggle. So it's looking like
Bitcoin's been moving up.
Sorry, George.
Bitcoin has been moving up.
Okay. Yeah, NAS is a bit looks like it's in a battle here, trying to push up, but it's definitely battling.
It's very close to the open of the close of yesterday.
Let's see how Bitcoin looks. Yeah, Bitcoin's trying very hard to push up. Yeah, interesting. So nothing for a trade at this moment in time. Currently, we're just kind of battling it with NAS right now. We're kind of sideways, but it is definitely trying to push back to the upside. But overall, let's see, 15-minute. We've hit this high. I'm going to go to the daily here. Yeah, so we hit bottom. It looks like we can call this a bottom. We've got a 1, 2, 3 bottom. We're trying to push off the bottom, but encountering lots of resistance at the current point here. So we've got this heavy resistance right there. So from last week, remember what I was saying was that I thought that we could be in a fourth wave here, and we could certainly push back up short term, but we could fall again one more time. So that is a possibility. I'm still holding to that possibility here. The 4-hour candles, the 4-hour candle currently is quite neutral. We opened, went up high, came down, closed back inside. So I would think that we would continue pushing up for the remainder of the session here. How high up do we go? Do we take out the previous high? That's possible, I suppose. But right now we are having a bit of a struggle.
It's struggling right around the 200 SMA on the 1-minute chart. And it looks like the 200 SMA won the battle right now.
So we just have a new candle, new 4-hour candle on the NAS at 1 o'clock here. So that's just opening. So my previous candle opened, closed right there. So drop down to the 5 minutes.
Just finished the E wave on the NAS 1 minute. And it's going to go south. I'm not sure at this point, but it seems like a possibility.
Yeah, interesting here.
Yes, while we're waiting for something, Peter could explain his trade if you want.
Peter, you said you had a trade on Tesla this morning?
I'm sorry.
Just talking to Peter there, George.
Oh,
Peter, you with us?
Yeah, I muted myself like you suggested, so I'm back on.
Again, only if you have noise happening, you know, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But you can certainly go ahead and go over your trade on Tesla.
All right, I'm still in the trade, but let me quickly.
Well, you can wait until you're finished the trade if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, let me finish the trade first, and then I'll let you know when I'm ready.
Okay.
And I'll mute myself now.
Just looking at Tesla from this morning. So we opened down. And just see if I could follow Peter's train of thought there, if it was from this morning, that is. 9:30.
yeah, he was on fairly early.
Okay, so at 9:30 we dropped, we came back up, and we formed a couple 1, 2, 3, 3 1, 2, 3s here. So had an opportunity to get in 3 times at this point, and this point to catch this move down. If that's the trade, that's a nice one. 242 to 237. That's 5 points. So just that alone was worth the price of admission.
Yep.
Then after that, it just kept going down. So more opportunities using the mark lines. Would have worked out quite nicely here if you were looking for that that drop. One there and one here. Even a tighter one actually. This way. Very tight. So same angle, both. And another one here. This one's nothing really here for to link to. So that one's a little tougher, but it is a clean 1, 2, 3, and then we get the drop. And at this level, there's another one right there, and then also this way, there's one. So a couple opportunities there, like that, or like this.
Hitting a nice climb now on Tesla.
I think that's what's happening with NAS now. We're starting to get a push. Go back and take a look at the NAS. So that was a similar pattern on the NAS as well. We opened up and came back up and formed these 1, 2, 3s. Nice 1, 2, 3 here. 3, 4, 5 waves. Nice move. 1, 2, 3 there. Another 1, 2, 3 there. A nice move. So there were opportunities this morning. If you can I stay up too late, so I can't get up for these anymore. So
Yeah.
NAS is NAS has made a nice move.
That is really, well, it's just at the price it closed at yesterday. S&P and Dow are very slightly positive. Dow's the strongest.
Oops, here's this. Okay, not much going on here for trade-wise on the NAS. It's just a can't really say we can jump into anything at this point. Bitcoin has made quite a nice run, so there was opportunities down at the lows to get in, and even at this point here would have been nice. So that gives us a nice 1, 2, 3 bottom, and we're in a third wave heading straight up right now to take out these highs here. I'm taking out one. So nice run on Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's been moving nicely right now.
Mm-hmm. Very nice indeed. So then a really good buy. Go to the 4-hour here again. Just see what I've got here. Get rid of some of this stuff. We were just stuck in a huge fourth wave all this time. Quite interesting. So on the 4-hour, just looking at the previous 4-hour candle, close right there. They come down to about the 5-minute.
Threatening to wake up.
Nice drop back down. So on the 1-minute chart, looking at Bitcoin, we opened, we went up, came back down. So looking at the 4-hour candles, it's telling us that, that we had a good opportunity to get in down here because we had 1, 2, another 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we turn around 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this whole, again, this whole movement here, opportunities to get in to catch this move that's currently unfolding. Very nice move there, but you have to be right on that in order to catch that kind of move.
Wants to touch that top now.
NASDAQ is following suit right now, pushing up.
Yeah, it's pushing up too right now. It got up to its VWAP line that begins at 9:30. Wow, it's really pushing now.
So where's the NAS going? Relatively equal highs here. So you can see on the NAS that we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom here. So we're in a move to take out all these highs. These guys here.
That shouldn't be too difficult. Suddenly it got a burst of strength. It wants to catch up to the S&P and the Dow, I guess.
So again, with NAS on the 4-hour candle, previous 4-hour candle, we opened high and we closed low, but we had quite the wick and came back up. So when we opened, they wick it down. And so here's our wick. And so it's an opportunity once we start moving back up to get in to catch this move to the upside. We got a couple of chances in here, another chance right there to get in. They sweep everybody right there. Now they're taking off to the upside. So there were opportunities to get in, especially down here. So it's the wick or the tail at this point, which is here. So they open and then they drop it down into the tail and then give you that 1, 2. So this is a break of structure, change of character, retrace back into a gap area, and then off we go. So it's another great setup there. Similar thing with S&P. So Tesla is moving very strongly to the upside. So similar setup as well.
I can explain my trade when you've got time, Lennox.
All right, you can go ahead, Peter.
Okay, so I have to share my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So Share screen, start sharing. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, what I want to reinforce today is what Lennox and George talk about, which is following structure. If you follow structure, then trading becomes a lot easier. For example, and I learned from them that, for example, at the close of yesterday, we had a 1, 2, 3 top, a 1, 2, 3 top, and then of course today we had a drop in the form of a gap, and I had treated that as wave 3. And then at the end of wave 3, you always enter wave 4. So we entered wave 4, and the question was, where are we going after wave 4? So what I noticed was I think Lennox pointed this out before, the 1, 2, 3 top, 1, 2, 3 top, 1, 2, 3 top, 3 back-to-back 1, 2, 3s. And of course, I drew this Tom DeMark trend line here, and this was a good place to go short right here. Although there were other opportunities below the other 1, 2, 3s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and down, trend line break, down we go. And then we go into wave 4 again. And by drawing Tom DeMark trend lines, which you can see I've done here, this is a resistance or supplier distribution line, the red line. And then the Tom DeMark demand line along the bottom there, it forms a negative triangle and a downtrend, which is bearish. And then, of course, what you do is you wait for price to break out of that triangle and head south. So we had a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, wave 3 down, wave 4 up, a break of this demand trend line here, and then down she goes. And now we're in what I would classify as wave 4. We're now at 236.27. I'm out of my trade now. I covered at the bottom somewhere. Took my profit. I'm looking to go short again because I don't think the free fall is over. We're at 235.96. I can't stress enough the importance of drawing trend lines. You can see that I draw them all the time. I find them very helpful to keep me focused on where price is going, whether we have supply or demand. Here's another triangle here formed by Tom DeMark trend lines. You can see I have them all over the place. Right now, if I were to draw the current trend line, I would go something like this. This is the most recent swing high or cycle high. I draw it from there back to the last most recent swing high or cycle high, which is not there. It's right there. That's the last most recent swing high or cycle high. So you can see that we have a resistance or supply or distribution trend line here. This is on the 1 minute chart. And I'll project that out into the future. So what we're looking for now is, where are we going with price? And what I'll also do is I'll draw a demand or support, Tom DeMark demand or support trend line like that, and color it green. And then we're forming a triangle of sorts. I guess you could say that this is a negative triangle. And what I'm looking for now is a break of this demand line, the green line. I'm looking for a break of that heading south. More importantly, what I'm looking for is a 1, 2, 3 top to get me out of here because I want to go short again. You can see that I use indicators. Lennox doesn't, which is fine. I'm not saying that they're great, but they help me anyway. You can see on the 1 minute chart, MACD is overbought, and it's turning down. So we can pay attention to that. That's not something that I will act on, because more importantly, what I'm looking for is a 1, 2, 3 top in here somewhere. and a break of this trend line. So, like I've said before, I like to draw trend lines because they help me pay attention to what price is doing. Like yesterday, for example, we were in wave 4 most of yesterday, and it's deadly. I can never trade wave 4 successfully. And then, of course, towards the end of yesterday, we had the 1, 2, 3 top, 1, 2, 3 top, boom, wave 3 this morning, followed by wave 2, or wave 4, sorry, in here. And then I was looking for a place to go short and caught my short after these 1, 2, 3s, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, down she went. So that was a good run down for 5 points. And that's about, I guess what I want to reinforce is the importance of what Lennox talks about, a structure. Like once you understand the structure, then you don't worry about where price is going, because we had a fall in the form of wave 3 this morning, followed by wave 4. And then, of course, to get out of wave 4, we're looking for 1, 2, 3 tops, and we got those, and boom, down in the form of wave 3, up to wave 4, down to wave 5. So that's about all I have to say, Lennox.
Excellent. Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, Peter.
By the way, NASDAQ has moved higher to the tune of 62% of its 9:30 peak to its 11:30 bottom today. And it may be trying to turn around at this point and go back down. That's still not confirmed yet, but we'll see.
With Tesla, Peter, I'm seeing that we still have some more push to the upside to come. So, and the same thing with the NAS. So, and reasoning is that I'm on the 5-minute time frame on Tesla, and here we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom. So we still have another push to come. And,
thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And you can see that there is a gap right here on the 5-minute time frame. So more than likely they're heading up into that gap. So if I drop down to the 1 minute, you can see. Let me just make this a little bigger. You can see that we do have a 1, 2, 3 bottom here. Yeah. And that's what's pushing us up right now with a lot of strength in that third wave. So we could go through a fourth wave here, but we'll still go one more time to the upside. Yeah. I see that. Thanks. Okay. NASDAQ is similar. NASDAQ is already pushing through. See, it's almost identical pattern. If I put that back on. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So you can see we're at that same pattern. So we're pushing through with a lot of strength. And where is NASDAQ going? If I go to the 5-minute, so it too has. Oh, sorry, this is Tesla. I thought I was on NASDAQ. I'm sorry. So here's NASDAQ. Let me go to the 1 minute. So it's the same pattern here on the NAS as we push through again. So look into the NASDAQ's 1, 2, 3 at the bottom was much cleaner and nicer. We swept. This is again what we're looking for: the sweeps, the move up, the sweep, the retrace back in, 2 gaps, entry, catch the move. It's just beautiful. This is just beautiful. Hey, guys, again, take a picture. This is what we're looking for. If you can spot that, it's just money to be made all the time. So really nice moves here. We're still going. So where are they going to? So with the NAS, we've got highs here. So they're likely heading to take out these highs up here. And there's another high up at the top. So
yeah, it's still in a very positive mode at this point.
Yes. So lots of room there. Unfortunately, could not get in because when we came on at 1 o'clock, I wasn't even paying attention to this. So opportunities were there to get on, but wasn't paying attention at the time, so was not able to catch it.
We have a big fair value gap on Bitcoin 1 minute. NASDAQ is getting ready to touch the 79% retrace.
Look for them to take this high out. So that's quite a nice run. It's unfortunate that I was not right onto NASDAQ right away at that time. So I think from now on, because NASDAQ has a new 4-hour candle at 1 o'clock. So it's important to be watching right at that moment in time. So when I come on at 1 o'clock, I should be looking at NAS, S&P for a setup, because the 4-hour candle gives us a nice opportunity. And this was a beautiful opportunity today to catch that move. You can see they're pushing up with lots of strength on the 4-hour candle. So it is more than likely that we're going to go and take out the high. And you can see our 1, 2, 3 here is giving us that. And we also have another huge 1, 2, 3 here. So we're in a very strong push to the upside right now. And so that would be my target, and first target anyways, and next target.
So on Tesla, we should be looking for a 1, 2, 3 top at some point.
Not really, because we're still in a third wave. So
Then we're going to go to wave 4, and then wave 5, and then a 1, 2, 3 top.
that's right. So we could do something like that and continuation. So they might be going to take out this high. We can go through this gap. They'll go more than likely try to take out that high up there.
What price level is that? 243?
Around 240, 240 and a half area.
Okay, cool. Good. That would be nice. Yeah, these structures are great once you see them.
Yes. So very close to target there.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a simple moving average on here just to see what it's doing. Let's make this gold. Let's make this a 21. Yeah, it's really you can see. Okay, so we've hit target, the first target. We're just hugging that 21. So very, very nice move here with using the 21 moving average.
Yeah, we haven't had the extreme volatility today, which has been nice.
The question now is, can we push more to take out the next high, or do we just gyrate around here? We could gyrate in here before we continue, or we could push straight up to here and then start to gyrate and then continue one more time.
It hasn't hit the 930 high yet. I've got 8 rising Heikin-Nashi bars. On a 3-minute chart.
Yeah, it looks very strong. They're going to push right up.
Yeah.
Are you still
Armin's
talking?
not with us this. Sorry, Armin's not with us this morning, but our qubit we were looking at yet last week. Last week he mentioned that it was at around 4 some odd, and I failed to get in a couple of days, and I finally got in on Friday at 5.89, and now we're at $8.25. So quite the nice push up. So we're very close to first initial target area. I'm looking for us to get up to 12 and higher here. So looking pretty good here. So nice buys. It would have been great buy down here at 4, in the 4 area, but I was finally able to buy it on Friday. So nice push. Did I interrupt someone? Someone's going to say something?
No, I just didn't hear you talk. I wasn't sure if you were still talking.
How's Tesla? So Tesla, they've touched that that gap. So now it looks like they want to kind of slide sideways a little bit here. So we could see a fourth wave and then one more push. They could maybe push into the middle of the gap. They might not assault that high. It's a possibility, but no guarantees.
NASDAQ seems to be weakening a bit too.
So with the NAS, similar. So we've come above. So still have more room to push up to the highs.
Yeah, it's about 50 points, 50 handles to get that high.
Let's see how 1, 2, 3 looks on here. $2.618 exactly. So definitely achievable. Not that far away.
No, it looks like it wants to do it, but it's testing the waters at this point. Trying to get more people to come along.
Bitcoin also very strong. So where's Bitcoin going? Bitcoin's is heading up to these highs up here. Wow. So quite a ways up for Bitcoin to go.
No, looks like it wants to try again. Nas. Needs another 20 handles to reach today's high.
Could catch a right on Bitcoin because there's lots of room to go to the highs. So we've got a pullback here. That would have been an opportunity. Another pullback here would present another opportunity for Bitcoin. So we catch this 1, 2, 3 at this point here. Still have lots of room to go to the highs.
We've got 11 3-minute positive Heikin-Ashi candles on NAS. Let's see if we can hit 13. Tom DeMark made an indicator up that things can go as high as 13.
Well, they're not pulling back anymore on Bitcoin.
Peter, are you aware of Tom DeMark's sequencer?
I'm sorry, what did you say, George?
Are you aware of Tom DeMark's sequence counter?
No. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not intimate with it.
Yeah, I saw a fellow that was using it on his Bloomberg terminal. Let's see what it has to say about it. Come on.
No pullback on Bitcoin. So very strong push off the bottom here on the indices and Bitcoin. So beautiful setup right at 1 o'clock. Everything was set up. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm not going to let this happen again. Since the 4 o'clock, or the 4-hour candle is opening at 1 o'clock. Need to catch that an entry like that. So we were sitting here and did not even pay attention to this. So this is a huge missed opportunity on the indices and Bitcoin. So Tesla is now, as you can see, Peter, we're just completely sideways.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got our structure, and now we're just gyrating. So we could come down, and then another move to the upside still to come.
Yeah, I see that.
We might not even come down at all, so there is a gap here. So that's why I marked it like that, so that we could come down into the gap and then continue.
I'd sure like to see a 1, 2, 3 top at some point.
Not going to be happening for a bit here.
Yeah, no, I'm very patient. I'm sitting on my hands. I think the hardest thing to do is to wait for a 1, 2, 3 because sometimes your mind plays games with you, and you want to see a 1, 2, 3 so badly that you sometimes think you see a 1, 2, 3.
Yes. So you see they've come back down. So what they're doing here is taking out the buyers in here. So that could be the pullback. That's all they might give us. There is a gap there though, so they could still come down into it, but they might not. So we always expect that that fourth wave is a chop. Then they come down, take out the buyers. We make a 1, 2, 3 here now to continue. If they don't come down lower, like I said, into this gap. So that's still a possibility here.
It's interesting that before I even knew anything about Elliott Wave, what I did know was that there were certain patterns that I followed, and wave 4 was called price equilibrium or consolidation. I didn't know that it was wave 4, but that's what it was called by another strategy.
I put 2 examples of Tom DeMark's sequence counter in the room. The first one is on a 15-minute NAS, and the second one is on a 1-minute Tesla.
Okay. Thanks, George.
So NAS just has a small push to go before we hit that ultimate high there.
Yeah.
After that, what do we have? Let's see, boy, nothing on the hourly, nothing there either. We've gone through all those. 15, 4 hour. Okay, so the 4 hour, we have another high coming up. So, and there's a gap here as well. No, there isn't. There is no gap. Nope. So next high is this. But I'm still a bit skeptical about this move overall. We're still very much inside a possible fourth wave here that could see us come back down to take all these guys out. It's still a possibility that could still occur after all that nice move up.
NAS still hasn't gotten above the 930 high. And it's starting to go negative now.
Looking for one more push here to take out that.
That's what it needs. But it's losing a lot of momentum at this point.
There is a gap right there. That should hold price up.
Oh, that was a nice push. It hit it. It got it.
There we go. That's exactly what I was looking for there.
Yep. One shot up and it retracted.
Yeah, that's all you needed for that push. Okay, so what I did with Bitcoin was I jumped in and looking to take a partial at this point. So I just took a partial. So I jumped in on, remember I was saying I wanted to retrace back into this gap, and that would give me an opportunity to continue the run. So I jumped in on right in there and take a partial at this point, and now I'll let the rest continue up to target. So I should keep my stop loss. And I'm looking for target is, I said target was on the hourly, I believe. Oh, so it's a long way up. So, might just go for these highs here because all these equal highs in here. That's a reasonable target in this area here. And there's even targets there. There's a good target right there. And what I'm looking at is about halfway point of this wick. The halfway point of this wick is there. We're already right at the halfway point of the wick, so it certainly can go a little higher than that, and maybe even to this high here. So that's a reasonable target. So I'll put it there for a target. Don't know if we're going to make it or not, but see if this gap can hold, keep
Quite
us.
a gap it has in there, isn't it?
Yeah, see if this gap can keep us going. Nope, so they took the gap away. Well, let's see.
Looks like Tesla may have put in a weak attempt at a wave 5.
Let's see how Tesla looks now. Yeah, so okay, so they also took out the high. So they came down, took out the lows, and then they went up. They just went straight up, and that's basically it. So I was thinking that they would do 1, 2, and then make 5 waves here, but they're doing it very quickly with just a 1 candle push, and that's it. So now we've taken out the lows again, so that could be it. We could be looking for a 1, 2, 3 at this point now.
I am.
So that's a very quickly done here. Interesting how fast they did that. So similar to what the NAS just did. So that gives us our structure overall. It gives us our structure. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Sweep, back down, sweep, retrace, entry, drop. That looks reasonable.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have inverted gap here. So that might be just as far as they go back up too at this point. Very interesting. We've already touched into it. That might be it, and then we could be falling back here that quickly. I really would have thought they wouldn't come back down and take this out so quickly, and we would have continued up, you know, back up one more time, but that could be it.
Would you say that we have a 1, 2, 3 top now, Lennox?
It's forming one. We're at this point here, yeah. So it looks like they're going to go a little higher. They're taking out that high. Okay, there is another inverted gap back here. That's it. So it's a very tiny one. We're touching that as well. So that could be as far as we go going up. That's our 1, 2, 3.
I'm ready.
I got stopped out of Bitcoin. I moved my stop up and they stopped me out. So they're not going much higher, or at least starting a fourth wave in Bitcoin right now as well. So quick profits there, and that was it.
NASDAQ is back up to the 930 high.
I was on quite a run in the account from yesterday. I had my first loss just now. I just got stopped out, so I was doing pretty good, and hit a first loss there. Where's my previous loss? You can see, oh, there it is, way down there. So I had quite the run going over the weekend here. Yesterday, especially, I was playing Bitcoin quite extensively and did quite well. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 trades in a row without a loss until just now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, trying not to lose, that's very, very, very difficult, of course, but
I tend to not try that because it can make the losses greater that way when I do it.
It's just a great challenge,
Yeah, it is definitely a challenge. No question about that.
It's similar to what I'm doing with the photographs, trying to catch these bees and these dragonflies and hummingbirds. It's just a great challenge because they don't sit still for very long, so you have to be really quick. They're not saying, oh, Lennox is trying to get a photo of us. Let's stay still, guys. It doesn't work that way. The same thing in the markets, they're not sitting there saying, oh, Lennox is trying to make a trade here, guys. Let's give him some profits. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
Lennox, it's quite interesting that you've been showing pictures of Pompeii, and the Smithsonian Channel 247 has been running a series of programs on Pompeii. Very, very nicely done.
Yeah, it's such a nice place. Yeah, that was the highlight for me, going to Italy. Very humbling. You're here 1 minute and then you're not the next.
Well, some people stayed because they didn't want to leave, and some people left. So
yeah, the couple that we stayed at their Airbnb in their house, they've been there for generations. So they said this is their home. They're staying, and even the rumbling of Etna still doesn't dissuade them.
So did they live through the eruption?
Which one?
Well, the one that coated the city.
Oh, well, that was in 70 AD, so that was a long time ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize when that was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's in 70. The year 70. Wow. So quite a while ago. Yeah.
Well, it could happen again.
Yeah, that was the same year that the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem occurred.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Yes, it has had Etna eruptions and lots of earthquakes and things like that. It's a very unstable area. Come on, Tesla. Let's see what NAS. So Tesla, it looks again that they've gone up a little higher. Not sure why they've gone up way up here. There's not much, unless they're looking to go and take out this high again, which is possible. But so we already took the high once. They took on all the lows. So you would think that they wouldn't take this high again, and that should give us an opportunity to come back down at this point. But
A lot of people jumping in too soon.
yeah, it still looks like there's room for them to go up a little higher here. So that's what they're doing. So it was a little fake to take everybody out who sold. Then they came down, took everybody out who bought, and now they're leaving and heading back up to go through this gap, it looks like, or even maybe to the middle of the gap. So quite interesting that they're taking that high out again. So remember, what I was expecting was that they would come down and sweep, make a 1, 2, 3 here and go, but they came lower and then did a 1, 2, 3, and now they're going. So just a little bit off on that analysis. Did not expect them to come back down and take this low again. So is that as high as they go now? We've come very close to the middle of the gap. We swept the high, but we've got a 1, 2, another 1, 2. So we should go a little higher than this. We should go up a little higher. That's one of the hazards of trying to play up in this area because we've had this huge run up and you come into this fourth wave. It's very difficult to play in here because again, if you've caught this ride to the upside, you're giving up your profits if you try to trade in here because they can take you out so easily. But we would expect a move to take out the highs, which is what they did here, and then they came back again in, and it looked like, okay, 1, 2, 3 should be enough for us to come down, but they're going higher. So that's similar to what they did on Bitcoin. Messed me up a little bit there because I thought, okay, they come back into this gap here, and that would be good enough for us to go, but they said, nope, we want more. So they coming back down, take everybody out, come into the bigger gap, which is what I expected in the first place, that they would come back into the bigger gap, but because they touched it here, you think, okay, maybe they won't do that anymore. They'll just go from here. But yeah, there's different scenarios. You have to look at all the scenarios, and I think that's the toughest part of trying to explain what's going on. The toughest part is you have to look at all the possibilities.
Well, the NAS is continually pushing up now. Finally had 3 candles on the Fibonacci that indicated that it was softening. And that's at the area that it flattened out. But now it's resuming its upward trend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Omar.
That's that is Armin.
Yeah, it's Armin. How you doing?
Oh,
It is Armin.
Armin, sorry.
Good
How are
morning,
you,
Good
Armin?
morning, George. Sorry? Was there a question?
I think he said, "How are you?"
I thought so. Okay. Well, I am up early and tired. Went back to bed, and here I am. Woke up. So
What a luxury, eh?
kind of a day off. My wife is day off today, so she's busy knitting already, and now she's looking over my shoulder here, taking an interest. So wonderful.
Tell her to put the skillet down.
Yeah.
I was thinking here that Bitcoin, they would come back and take this low one more time. There's a gap here, so we could drop into that gap, and that would present a nice opportunity for a buy. So that would give me my structure and to head back, to continue back up. Unless we're not going to get a fifth wave here, which is possible. Sometimes they don't give you the fifth wave for whatever reason. So it could be a divergence with Ethereum. Okay, look at Ethereum. Ethereum says, see ya. So Ethereum is doing, what I'm expecting Bitcoin to do. Interesting. So they might not give us this fifth wave at all, which it doesn't look like at this point now. So it's quite interesting how you have to look at the divergences, because so there we go. They came down here. We're not getting a fifth leg, is what you would expect here, and instead they come almost to take it out. Then they go back up, take this out. So we would look for a retrace to go. So let's see if we get that. That could present a nice opportunity. We do have a inverted gap here. So let's see if we can come back into that inverted gap. Very interesting there. So NAS is still going. Let's see the NASDAQ. Oh yeah, boy, no stopping them, eh? So they took out all those highs. So I thought maybe that might have sufficed for them at that spike up, and we could maybe see a little pullback. However, no pullbacks at all. Remember, we have a large 1, 2, 3 as well as a small 1, 2, 3. So the small 1, 2, 3 has done this, and we're in this channel with the small 1, 2, 3. But the large 1, 2, 3, we're in a bigger channel. So that one has quite a ways to go. So I was looking for a possible pullback here and to continue, but we're not getting one at all. It's very strong here. So quite interesting movement. So you can see on the 15-minute, you can discount the smaller 1, 2, 3 on the 15-minute, which is looking at the larger 1, 2, 3, and that's pushing us in that channel. So easily take out those highs based on the 15-minute 1, 2, 3 bottom. But I thought that, internally we would go up to this area and then get a little bit of a pullback, but it's not happening. It's not happening whatsoever. So 30 minutes, hourly, trying to see to the left here, 4 hour, there we go. So 4 hour, we're coming up to this high here. So that's quite a push. Very interesting. We can see our structure on the 4 hour. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and our fifth wave. So we could be at the highs imminently here and get a retrace from here. So is that retrace going to take us all the way back down? We could do something like that and then continue down, or we come down halfway and continue back up. But I don't like the way it looks. It looks more like a fourth wave, so I'm thinking we're going to come down. So very interesting. So Tesla, can't see anything on the 4-hour, 1 hour. Very strong, 30-minute, very strong, 15-minute. So we came right into the gap. 5-minute. Looks like there's still room for us to go up higher. Maybe we could take out that gap and go up to the next high. Possibly. So Tesla has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could go again, take out that high.
So what gap were you thinking of there?
On what?
On Tesla, you're saying there's a gap
Yeah.
you could take out?
It's the large gap that it's in currently.
Oh, okay.
From the 5-minute, I think that's a 5-minute gap right there.
Oh, okay.
So we're inside that currently. I believe it's a 5-minute gap. Yes. So that 5-minute gap, we're in there. So I'm looking for them to go through it and to possibly take out the high up at 240.45. That's a possibility if we can get through this current gap. So it's got another push to go. So we could get over that gap and then we'd be looking at that high right there. It's a possible target. Looking to jump back into Bitcoin again. One more push to the upside. Here goes Tesla trying hard to get up there again. NASDAQ looks strong still.
We have more divergence on the Tesla MACD 1-minute chart.
They're having a struggle trying to get out of this gap. So we're right at the midpoint of it.
Sorry, Peter, what was that? There's marked divergence?
If you look at the 1-minute chart, Tesla and plot MACD, you'll notice that we have negative divergence on MACD to price. The thing about that is negative divergence on MACD it just tells you that price may change course a bit or a lot. It doesn't tell you by how much. It just says that there may be, in this case, some weakness in price, but to what degree, we don't know.
Well, I'm looking at the 3 minute. I'm going to go to the 1 minute here. So the divergence, you can see it in price there where it's.
Well, you can see MACD waving high about the middle of the screen, and then it waves lower towards the right. So that's called negative divergence on MACD to price.
Okay.
But like I said before, it's not. I would go more with what Lennox is saying. Like he thinks we're going to go to about 240, which I would agree with. So MACD is interesting, but not necessarily instructive.
We're getting a nice push here now, so I think they want to go out of that gap. We came back into a small gap here on Tesla. So I would mark this gap like this because it was already mitigated, most of it. So we came right into it, and now we're leaving with a 1, 2, 3 bottom. So it looks good for them to continue out of this bigger gap. So you see how the indicator has marked the gap as the full green to that level. Price came down and stopped there, went up, and then they came back in. So I would mark it that the gap is just to that wick. And now they're leaving. So that's what I would have expected, that they, because we have 1, 2, and this would be 3, 4, and then we're going to go one more time to the upside. So it looks like they are indeed heading heading for that. What's that? That high right there. And we're breaking above the 5 minute gap. NASDAQ still going. I'm not getting a huge move on Bitcoin as I was expecting here.
Lennox, I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I understand everything you're saying. It's great stuff. The question I have is, let's suppose we do like with Tesla, we have so many people unnerved with Tesla and they're starting to dump their shares. What happens if we get a wave of sell orders that contravene what the market makers are trying to accomplish, like a wave of sellers who are, trying to drive down the price of Tesla?
Well, what would constitute a wave of traders? I mean,
well, the whole world decides to sell Tesla.
Well, that would mean all the hedge funds and all that kind of stuff, because the retail traders aren't going to make a blip on this, really, right? You remember that GameStop stock?
Oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so it would have to take a consortium of retail traders to move the stock, right? The guys who are really moving it are the big players. So when that guy decided to go out on social media and tell everybody to buy GameStop, it was a consortium of buyers that manipulated and moved that stock. So it would have to take quite a substantial amount for that to happen in Tesla. And that would mean the hedge funds and all that, those guys would be all panicking and selling at the same time, right? Because they all do the same thing anyways, right?
How do the market makers cope with
well, just the same as in GameStop, where most of those market maker guys, the big boys, were all shorting the stock. Now they're in deep troubles because the stock is just continually rising. So they have to cover. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good for them at that point. So it's quite interesting, the whole psychological dynamics of it.
I think it was a good example of how much power the retail traders actually have when they do get together.
When you get together, yes.
Yeah.
But more often than not, they're not together. It's just
No, exactly.
So yeah, that's why we don't have much. We can't do much in the markets.
So when they get together, does that mean they override the market makers, or how does that work?
Essentially, I mean, again, there were
Well,
lots of shorters. Most of the hedge funds or whoever were shorting. The shorts, the guys who look at stocks, only look for stocks that they can short. We're all ganging together and shorting, GameStop all the time. They make a
Okay.
killing. So then the retailer said, hey,
It's a little bit different though in the stocks, because they're technically supposed to borrow the stock that they're shorting. And so it tends to put a little bit of a damper on the sell side. But there have been situations where they were shorting more of the shares than were available. I think Overstock had something like that years ago.
I caught Bitcoin right here on this. So I had a 1, 2, 3 here, another 1, 2, 3, and then they come back into an inverted gap from that side. So I'm looking for them to come back into the gap. I'd buy it. They came back in a second time, and off we go. So that's what I was looking for. This is just such a beautiful setup, because they sweep. They go up, they come back in, they sweep again, they go up, they come back in, and then we expect them to leave. But they came back one more time on this little wick here. Not much, and now they're gone. So really good. So I kind of, like you, Peter, I'm using a mental stop, because I don't want to put a stop in just in case they wick me down and take me out. So I kind of use a mental stop to stay in the position.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Now they're leaving and should be okay. I can just lock in profits without. So I've taken a portion off and then lock in the profits now, so I don't lose on this trade. So that's how I keep from losing, is by doing that, by taking quick profits and then locking in my stop into profit, so that in the event that they do come back against me, I don't lose. So that's what's given me this nice run, of 20 wins in a row until this stop out just now on Bitcoin just earlier. So I just do that. Sometimes I'm able to, like here I had $108, so that was by locking in profit of $108. They came back against me, took me out, but I was in profit. And I think I had here's another one for $13. But most of the time I'm taking off profits of 1,500, 1,400, 1,600, 700, 800, 600, 1,000, 2,400. So depending on how quickly it moves, I'm just looking for those quick moves to get some quick profits and then let the rest run.
So for a stock like Tesla, what do you have a rule of thumb as to where you'd put your stop?
So since I don't really play Tesla like you do, it would be similar, like for instance here where we get this pullback into this gap and we get a 1, 2, 3. So, this would be a good place to put a stop below the gap. So below this wick, below this candle here would be a good spot for a stop. Gives you a lot of room, just in case they do decide to spike it again to take this low out, which you don't expect them to do anyways, but just in case.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So you try to hide behind these gaps you know, ideally below the gaps, and especially below the candle that starts the gap. So this candle here would be the, so if we were getting in, you'd want to, you know, your stop to be in this area or something like that.
The
So
problem
if
with
that-
stops is the market. This problem with stops is the market makers can see where your stops are.
I don't think they can see them. I think they know that there are lots of orders usually sitting below the lows. I don't think they see the orders, but
Okay.
they have an inkling that there are lots of orders below these lows, right? So I think
Okay.
that's the premise for them. I don't know if they can see the orders per se and say, oh yeah, there's, you know, but I think they know
Okay,
that
Yeah, I get it.
most people put their stops below these lows, right? And I mean, you don't have anywhere else to put them anyways, right?
I think they can actually see them because, well, in some cases, even like here in the U.S., when you become a broker, you can actually see who's trading on your account, and you see where they put their stop losses.
Yet the
So,
brokers
I think,
can't.
it's
Yeah, the brokers can.
Well,
yes.
there's instances where you have market makers that are brokers, and there's also instances where you can also pay a premium to actually see where the stop losses are, where you can pay a premium to see exactly where the orders are and the stops are and what have you,
And that's just
or the
wrong.
orders are, so to say. So, but that's in the U.S. though.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that service offered for sale on. Let's see, where was it?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah,
I
it
learn
was
something
basi-
new every day.
Are you talking about the Bloomberg terminal, Armin?
I'm not sure if that was a Bloomberg, but that sounds about right. That could be it. I just know that I had an advertisement pop up.
So we have been in algo time here since 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock was here, and we've had a nice, you know, albeit not the strongest, but a nice move in the algo here from 2 o'clock. So our first gap was right there. So that would have made for a nice entry for that move to the upside. So the algo at 2 o'clock, as ICT calls it, you look for your first gap after 2 o'clock. So this one wouldn't count because it's right at, I think, let me just double check if that's right at 2 o'clock. That is exactly at 2 o'clock. So that one wouldn't really count. So you could discount that one, although you could have taken that one because it did give us a 1, 2, 3, and we did come back into the gap. So I would have taken that trade if I was watching and seeing that. Then you get a second chance at it where you come back into this gap. So this gap now becomes technically the first gap after 2 o'clock. So that's the algo. You can take that trade to the upside. So that's what the algo is doing. It's just starting off with the gaps and pushing in the direction of the overall trend, which is to the upside. So Bitcoin did a, I always do this to myself. So it was Bitcoin, just so upsetting here. I'm not paying attention. I was in, they came back, I moved my stop up into positive here, and unfortunately I moved it up too tight by like a tick, and they got me, and now they take off without me. So that's one of the hazards of moving your stop into positive. Sometimes you move it up a bit too much, and that was the case. So there was a gap here, so I thought, okay, I would put it just below the red candle's gap here, but they got me on that little tick. So I really should have put it below the wick or the tail of the candle, but I put it below the body of the candle and they got me. So just by that much, you know, you can miss out on nice moves like that. So that would have been a great move right there.
That's on Bitcoin, right?
That's Bitcoin. So yeah, you know, nothing worse than when you get stopped out and thing takes off in your direction. So
Yeah, I had one of those.
not too happy about that move there, but that's okay. It's all good. as long as everybody can see what the setup is, and you can try to take advantage of it. So here it's interesting. I was expecting one more drop here to take out the lows, but they didn't do that. So we didn't get our structure. Then they move up, take out the high, come back in. So it's a buy. Then we get another move out, sweep, come back in again. So it is a buy here as well to go. They're doing it again. So if they come back in again, that's a buy to continue. So we swept the highs here. So the question is, at this point, are we done because we've swept the high, or did they continue going up higher? Right? So let's look at it from an hourly point of view. So yeah, we still have room to go up to these highs. So we're not done. Lots of room to go.
I have an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
I met a young man who came by on Friday to purchase a small item that I was selling, and he had a Tesla, and he was apologizing left, right, and center for owning the car. And then when I went out to help them load the item, his sister was there as well, and she was, hadn't been privy to the whole conversation I was having with him, and she was apologizing for having a Tesla too, and like Elon Musk, because it used to be good, but he's gone crazy and stuff, and they're worried about their car getting vandalized. They're thinking about putting a sticker on there saying we don't support Musk, and they're in Canada, right?
Yeah,
so I thought that was
It's
interesting.
truly amazing. They're against stopping graft in the United States.
Well, there's
Against-
such a liberal media still. It's just it's just like
That's what they live off of.
people can only believe what they hear, and
The thing is, he has it published online.
published what?
All the
Yeah. His cuts and everything, all that crazy stuff that he's cutting out. Well, they still don't see him that way. They see him as being anti-liberal or whatever, I guess. So. Yeah, just a lot of anti-American sentiment in general.
It's interesting. I mean, Musk has done quite a lot for the United States. So
yeah, but you have even billionaires unloading their cars or destroying them, whatever.
Yeah, I did see that one YouTube video or whatever. The guy made the news. He bought a Tesla just to destroy it, pickaxe and sledgehammers, and inviting his friends over to take a swing, and they graffitied it all to pieces. And
that's so silly.
It's just, I guess the battery still might be okay if you salvaged it.
I'm surprised they didn't have their guns and they were shooting it.
Yeah, I don't know, that part didn't make the tape. Maybe that was next.
It's just the mentality of that is just so insane to me. It's like, come on. They voted this guy in, and so that's the way it is.
Oh,
majority rules.
The U.S. public usually, they're pretty smart. They tend to elect, I think, the right people. I don't know.
This couple that showed up yesterday in the Tesla, they obviously are not broke.
Well, he was 17, and I'm not sure how old she was. She could have been 30, I guess. Quite a spread there, but
Teslas are not cheap.
They bought the car secondhand 5 years ago, and it was a family car, so I think mom and dad owned the car. So, but yeah, no, it's just it's one of those things where I don't know. So much is manipulated, right?
Yes, sir.
reminds me of a story on MASH. Remember MASH?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there was a episode where the CEO had his Jeep in the way and somebody ran over it with a tank and absolutely flattened it, right? So he brought up his sidearm and he shot it and he said they shoot dead horses, don't they?
Lennox, this is where I start to imagine that I see a 1, 2, 3 top on Tesla on the 1 minute.
Not yet. And the reason is we have a 1, 2, 3 here. So what's controlling the move?
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. Okay.
So that puts us, you know, where it puts us, right? So we should be taking this high out and continuing up one more time.
Where was that 1, 2, 3 at what price? 238 or something like that.
Yeah, 238 area.
I can't see it on my chart. It's 238.
1 minute time frame.
I don't see the same 1, 2, 3 that you have on your. Or maybe I do. It doesn't look the same.
Who's your broker?
Sorry?
Who's your broker?
I'm looking at investing.com.
Oh. Let's see, I haven't looked at investing.com for a while. Let me just see what it looks like on investing.com. Time to buy the dip. Time to buy the dip. Wow, slow motion here.
There it is.
So Tesla.
Disappeared again.
Wow, very slow. I think I need to reboot this machine.
Yeah, it's not that slow on mine.
Oh my word. Okay, it just froze me right up here. So let's see what photo I've got there. Okay, what's going on? Shouldn't have gone to investing.com, it's telling me here.
No, I'm not having a problem with it here. But I think I see a 1, 2, 3 that you're talking about.
I've just lost my window. It's dead in the water. Don't really want to close this. It's just a pain if I close it, but it looks like I'm frozen by going over to investing.com. That's quite interesting. That's so harsh.
Probably a dozen updates since you last used it.
Okay, let's cancel. Okay, let's see if it comes. Now my whole computer is locked up. Oh no! So just by going clicking on investing.com.
Taskbar? Yeah, you just close it on the taskbar. Just close the window.
My entire computer is locked up now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So sorry about that, guys.
Where's Stacy? Stacy, help.
Wow.
It's probably trying to do all kinds of updates to the investing.com.
Well, it's working on my end.
Well, while you're waiting for it to come back to you, I can give you some good news.
Mm-hmm.
Qubit's up 17.87%.
Yes.
What is what?
We looked at it this morning there before you came on.
Qubit, QUBT.
So it was a good buy there at 589 on Friday. Nice jump. So it's going the right way. Okay, I am stuck. Oh, I'm frozen in time. This is not good. Okay, application is not responding. The program may respond again if you wait. I've been waiting, so I'm going to have to kill it, unfortunately. So you might have to. That is so unfortunate. Okay, so let me try again. What's this say? No, I don't want to back that up. All right, sorry about that, guys. See if I can get my windows back up. Hopefully it'll allow me to get my windows back up. Restore.
Yeah, I tried to launch it again and I couldn't. So, oh no, here it is. I got it launched.
So it was not just me then.
Well, no, I'm launched now. I've got a
Oh.
fresh copy of investing.com.
Yeah, I've
Working
never had
fine.
that problem with investing.com before. I'm still there. Let's see if it come back. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna go back to TradingView. I'm just gonna forget about that guy for now. All right, so we're back. Alrighty then. Interesting. All right, so there's Tesla still trying to make it to that high, very close to making it to that high, right?
That looks exactly like NAS.
So almost there. And so you can see from that 1, 2, 3 I was referring to here, we get that move, we chop up and down, and then we get another push out. So we're chopping again, so there's still another push to come. One more push, and that will take us through to the high. So if I go to the 5 minute, the high that we're looking for is the current high right here. So that's where I thought we would go to if we could get through this gap, and we did. So from the bottom on the 5 minute, we can see our structure quite clearly now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're in the fifth wave. So we should be looking for a 1, 2, 3 to come back down. Now the question is, how far down do we go? Do we go all the way through? Do we just come down halfway and turn back? This is going to be very crucial move here back down. We can come back 50% and then turn around and continue, which is what I would love to see. But the NASDAQ is a little bit more choppy, and like I said, the expectation is that we could come back down and break the lows again, which would not be exciting. So the NAS, looking at the NAS, has the possibility of doing that. However, it's on a higher time frame that we see it, not so much on that level. So that's quite the move there on the NAS. So we came all the way up. So we've taken out that high, and So it looks like this is an E leg. So here I've got 1, 2 here, 3, and then we got A and a B and a C and a D, and this is an E leg, and that E leg consists of 5 waves, takes us up into this area, and we could come all the way back down, take everybody out. So that is a possibility, like I say. So don't want to really see that happen though. But you have to be ready for anything. So we had quite the push to make it to those targets. So I was able to make some nice profits on the moves here from 1 o'clock. I was actually in earlier in my other accounts and made some nice moves here on these from down in here. That was around the 1 o'clock area, but I was in before then, rode it all the way up.
Yeah, from the 1, 2, 3 on the 5-minute chart of NASDAQ, looks like there's just shy, about 15 handles shy of 300 handles move.
It's just a lovely move here. Just a really nice move. So it is 3 minutes to go, and then we'll have a new candle on Bitcoin, a new 4-hour candle on Bitcoin. So for the previous 4-hour candle is here. So I'm going to the 4-hour. Look at that candle. Let's see. So this is, we opened, it looks like we're going to close up here somewhere. So I want to see what the next candle, how the next candle reacts. This is our open here, or low here, sorry, low. I want to see where we close. So I'm looking for targets up to that level. So since our current 4-hour candle, we go back big, our current 4-hour candle has opened, dropped, and has taken out the previous high, I would expect the next candle to open and take out this high. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, a candle. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a wick or tail here before we continue up, something like that. But that's kind of the candle I'm looking for to come next. So opportunity to possibly get a buy in here to run it up to the highs. And there's 2 highs that it could take. So that is the 4-hour look at things. So on the 4-hour, you can see we're inside a big, huge, it looks like a 4th wave again, right? Because we've got a 1, 2 here and this drop. So it looks like we're inside a 4th wave here. So go up and take out these highs and we could come back down again like that. So you can see on a bigger scale, we can do that as well. On a smaller scale, we can do that as well. So we could come down and take out these and go back up again and come back down again. So that's not good if this happens. Okay, so we're at the new candles open now. New 4-hour candle, I believe. Oh. Or maybe not. I thought there was going to be a new 4-hour candle right now, but maybe I'm wrong. Times does a 4-hour candle open? What time did this one open?
Does the time change have something to do with that?
Perhaps. Maybe it's messing me up here. This was midday. Oh, so this was the 4-hour candle. So it's the next one would be at 4, I guess, or 3. This was at noon. So the next one would be at 4. Okay, so I'm expecting that thinking that there's a new candle going to be opening, but it's still ongoing. So my fault there. All right, so that's a wait for that one to happen. Okay, so it looks like we might be at a possible high there. Let's see how NAS is doing in Tesla and them. So we're turning back now. So we broke that high. So we've got sweeps, sweep here, 1, 2, 3. Another 1, 2, 3. Well, that's very quick. So that could be it. Tesla must be doing the same thing. We should be turning back now. So Tesla, yeah, we came very close to, so we did break the high. So they did the same thing as the NAS. They swept that high. And now we sweep the lows. They come back in. So that's a sell right there. Now they're breaking this low. So we can retrace back in again. It would be a sell again. So our demarc lines would help. Mark trend line here. That would have been a sell right there. Close. Next one would be down here. We've got a inverted gap here. So it's possible we could come back up into this inverted gap. That would present a nice sell on Tesla. Because we don't have any regular gaps. So let's see if that occurs. Let me go over to NASDAQ. NASDAQ is similar, so the same type of thing. We swept. Sweep here. Retrace. We need to sweep this low, which we haven't as yet. Swept this one. And retrace where we're retracing back to. There's a gap here. So similar to Tesla. So opportunity here perhaps for a sell back to this gap. Did we come into that gap? Ooh, very close. Very close. Almost, eh? It might have been it. The S&P came very close to touching. So is it worthwhile taking a sell at this point? Not so convinced of a big drop back because we still have a huge 1, 2, 3. So essentially what's happening here is that we're going to be stuck in a fourth wave. So, you know, this, we could do, you know, sideways dance here for the rest of the day, the last hour. So it might not be a big move back to the downside per se, if everybody's following me. So I've got a gap here on the 15. So that might hold price back. So there's our gap. So yes, we can come back into this gap. Yes, we could sell it, but we might not go very far down is what I'm saying. So you could still make some money though. So we did touch. Yeah, it's a touchy sell here. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Do we sell to come back down? And how far down do we come? Or do we just slide sideways? So I'm not convinced of it at this point. Now, for those YouTubers out there, if any of this is making any sense to anyone, and you like what you're seeing, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We're just new. We're just starting out. This is our second week, so play by play of the markets. We look at almost everything. We can look at anything that anybody wants us to look at. Actually, I did start off the day. We looked at the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar was in a downward trend. So we looked at all the other
Hello, Vern.
currencies
No.
against the U.S. dollar. Yeah, this is a tough play at this point here to sell. It's tempting though, but might not go down very far here. So I've got a 1, 2, 3 top here, drop, and another drop. So how far down will we go? Maybe not too far. Midpoint of the gap, perhaps, if that. The sweeping everybody out. We could see a retrace back up to this area, and that might be a better sell at that point. That's Tesla. They're both similar. There's a retrace. We're right into this gap. Yeah, this is the reason I didn't really want to sell here, because it's a bit tentative here. And we could just be inside a choppy affair here for the remainder of the day. Still looks like there's more upside to come, actually. Yes, and that makes sense. So we're coming into the gap, 15-minute gap. So we're at that crucial point where we've made this nice run into the third wave, end of the third wave. So at this point, again, we could just go sideways for a while. But we're looking for another push to the upside after that.
So does it look like Tesla can also go back up a little bit then?
Let's see how Tesla looks like it's completed its 5 waves. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We hit that high. So does it have another push to the upside? Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I'm not expecting it to break that high. So, something like that. But it doesn't, it should be doing what the NAS is doing as well. So it's kind of interesting because the NAS is not the same. NAS has this big, huge run, and then I would be expecting, fourth wave. So compared to Tesla, which didn't have that big of a run, it's just more of a small push, and then yeah, I would expect a little bit of a bounce back up into this gap and a continuation down. But yeah, it's a tough one here because we've made that nice move to the upside here. So we should be consolidating and accumulating to make a move, and it will be more likely that we're moving back down at this point. But certainly, you have to look at the possibility that they could go back for that high.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I think, again, the key is to look at all the possibilities. And which is the most probable move.
Which is the most probable? Going back
Sometimes
down?
it's not easy to discern that. So looking at it from this level on the 1 minute, you can see my structure. You can see it quite clearly here. And then we move up. So at this point, I'd be looking for this kind of move here to come back down.
Okay.
So it's really tough to buy or sell at this point. And I mean, when you're scalping, you can buy quickly. If you get it, you can buy quickly to go back up. You can sell quickly to come back down. So scalping, you have that opportunity and that option to do that. But you have to feel strongly about that move. I mean, it's similar to here where I get a nice 1, 2, 3, so that's buy, definitely, right? But you always have to be careful when you're up so high in the move to do that. Yeah, see, they're not doing the same thing. So it's really tough to buy or sell here. Let's see how Bitcoin's doing. Take a look at Bitcoin from the 15. Bitcoin still looks like it wants to go higher. And on the 5 minute, I've got 1, 2, 3, and then we're chopping up and down. So we could expect another push to the upside. It's a gap there. Very tiny gap. Down to the 1 minute. That's what we look like. So are we ready to go back up? We could drop one more time, take out the low. That's what we would expect here before we get a 1, 2, 3 to go back up. But sometimes they don't give you that fifth wave. See, our Ethereum looks at the same spot. Ethereum very close to giving us a fifth wave. And we did get the fifth wave just as I speak. So that's what I would expect, because we've got that's what you expect in your structure. So if we look at Bitcoin, they're not doing that. So that's divergence with Ethereum. So Bitcoin is diverging from Ethereum. So it's more strength in Bitcoin at the current moment in time. Did you guys hear that?
Hear what?
No, you didn't hear it? Okay.
Yeah, I heard.
Siri,
I was listening. I heard it.
you heard it?
Well, I heard you speaking. Yeah.
No, just after I stopped speaking, Siri, because I said Bitcoin, Siri jumped in and was telling me how much Bitcoin was, and
Yeah, it was. I could hear a little bit of it. It was very faint.
yeah, it was pretty weird.
What did you hear?
Siri came on and was talking to me,
Oh, okay. No, I did not pick that up. No.
and my phone's about a good 8 feet away from where I am.
They're always listening.
Yeah, a little disconcerting. So yeah, Bitcoin is was a buy right here because it didn't give us the fifth wave. So that's where you have to be watching both. And that would have given us a buy right there to go back to the upside. Very interesting how the difference between them. So Ethereum is doing the proper structure that I would be expecting. Bitcoin did not do the same thing.
On Tesla, on the 30-minute chart, it looks like wave 4.
Tesla. Wow, we're coming down quite a bit. So we're not getting that retrace back up that I'm expecting. So on the 30 minutes. So on the 30 minute, yeah, it's a little different story on the 30. Come back to that low.
It's come down to cover that gap.
So there's a gap on the 30. Let's see if the 15. There's also a gap on the 15. We've gone through that. We've hit the order block. So
how do you see that order block again? It's basically 3 candles on the left there. Is that what you're looking at, or
that red candle right there?
That's the order block?
Yes.
Okay. And you can tell it's the order block because
the red candle.
Yeah, but why it's just a different color. It's going down, so that's the order block.
No, it's the last down candle before an up move here. So that would be considered a block of orders here. Block of sell orders are here.
Okay.
It's like here at the bottom, there's a block of sell orders here, but there's 2 candles, so that makes up the block. But some people say it's only the one, but it's, again, it's so much.
That's still hard to understand, like why, I understand order block, but I don't understand how to read it. I don't see it for reading it, so
it would be the last down candle before the up move, the last down candle before the up move. So in this case, there's 2 of them here, so you would consider both of them as the order block. But some people don't look at it that way. Some people only look at one. So there's different rules for different people, and so it's kind of confusing in that sense.
Well, would there be an order block going the other way down too?
Yes, the last up candle before the down move is
right.
Would be considered an order block. So that means all 4 of these candles makes an order block because there's 4 of them consecutively. So it makes it, you wouldn't want to mark them all off as an order block, but technically you could say yes, it's an order block, but it'd be more like that one ideally, right? So as you come down the time frame, we're on the 15, on the 5, then it becomes a little bit more realistic where you get, okay, that's an order block of the last up candle.
Okay.
This is an order block, the last down candle.
So it's kind of like a change of character.
Sort of, but not the same. No, change of character is a little different. So
How do
the
you
change of
define-
character is the last swing before the move up, and that will be considered a change of character.
Okay, so can you say that again? The change of character equals.
Would be the last swing low here. So let me make this bigger. So we had this move down, then this move up. So the change of character will be coming back to take that low.
Okay.
So the last move down before the move up would, when we break it and close below it, that would constitute a change of character at that point.
Okay.
So we get all this jargon, breaker blocks, order blocks, change of character, breaker structure, fair value gaps, consequent encroachment, and all kinds of stuff like that. And it's just so much stuff. And that's why I don't really get into that too much, because although I understand it, it's not really necessary for, but again, ICT guys would be against me for saying that. I would be certain, but I think to keep it very simple, and the way we're doing it, I think is much simpler and easier. You don't have to get into all this jargon.
Right. Well, you mentioned order block, so.
Yes, I did. And, that's about the only two things I talk about is the order blocks and the fair value gaps. So, but yeah, there's so many other things that talk about.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't want to confuse anybody by using these terms, because it's not something that I used to use at all, until I started looking at ICT stuff. But they do help in gauging what's setting up in the chart.
Right.
And for our 1, 2, 3, I don't really need to use an order block for my 1, 2, 3. When I get a 1, 2, 3 like this, the sweeps are great. The change of character sometimes comes into play. See, this one didn't come into play on this 1, 2, 3. So the 1, 2, 3 was all by itself, and that's a buy. Whether or not I have a change of character, you ideally want to see a change of character, but it doesn't have to be. So the ICT guys wouldn't be looking at this, because they're looking for the change of character and a move above and then a retrace. So they would miss this 1, 2, 3. Whereas we would look at it as a 1, 2, 3 and looking to get in, and we wouldn't care if there's an order block there. There's an order block, but it doesn't matter if there's an order block there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're doing the count.
You see what I mean?
I think I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether there's an order block or not, it's irrelevant. But it helps if you can pinpoint that. Oh yeah, there's an order block there.
Armin, I put information in the chat on fair value gaps. You might find that useful.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I see it.
So what's important for me is the previous sweep, the move up, the move back in. That's the most important thing. And I'm just looking for a retrace again of 50 to 62% back down. If I can get that, I'm in. Whether or not there's a change of character, or there's a breaker block or an order block or whatever, fair value gap is of no consequence. However, if you get them, it's they're nice to have, right? You can check them.
Right.
When Skype was down for me for a bit, I went short on Tesla at the top on the 1 minute.
So that's a quick scalp there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good move.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I'm hoping for it to go all the way back up to 245. It filled a gap this morning where it gapped down. So it closed on Friday around 248. So I don't know if that's reasonable or possible. I think everything is possible, right? It's just a matter of will it happen, I guess. It's just.
So we're in the last half hour now. So See how NAS is doing. Yeah, so I wasn't keen about taking a trade in here because it's, we're in a fourth wave. So, and we're in a fourth wave based on the 5-minute time frame. So I don't want to be taking a trade in here. I mean, you can, and like Peter did on Tesla, on the 5-minute, you can see it's a little different. Like I said, it was a little different story because I'm expecting, because we've done 5 waves, I would expect that move down. I'm expecting a move back up and then another move back down. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, but they've come down quite a bit here. They come back down into the fourth wave area. So we should be looking for a move back to the upside now.
So Peter, may I ask you what price you went short?
Sure. I will tell you exactly what I did. Let me find my order things here. I went short. Oh, here it is. I went short at 238.50, and I covered at 237.53 for another $300.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you went in quite late in this down here. Interesting.
Well, I wasn't sure. See, I still struggle with finding 1, 2, 3s that aren't totally obvious to me. So I waited a little bit too long, but then I realized
there's a series of them here. There's 3 of them here.
Well, you see them better than I see them. I mean, you've got more experience than I do, so you seeing a 1, 2, 3 to you is more obvious than it is to me. But when I realized that, yeah, it looks like we've got at least 1, 2, 3, I'm going to get in. And I caught that wave, the wave 3 down, all those red candles down. I caught those.
So just using your DeMark lines as a gauge, this right there on that one, you could have jumped in at 238, 890 area and so forth, But
yeah,
that's just using your Tom DeMark lines. So
yeah, I agree. I was just so
intent. If you utilize your lines, then you can get in a little earlier on some of these moves, right?
Well, I was just so intent on trying to nail a 1, 2, 3 that, yeah, I see your point completely.
But I mean, it's always easy to say it, but of course, but when it's moving, it's a different thing.
Well, I just worry about so that it can snap back and, it can snap back and grab $2 or $3 out of you times 300 shares. That's a lot of money.
All right, so here at the bottom now we get the sweep, we get the move back up, we get the sweep, we get the move back in. So it's looking like this is a buy opportunity to come back up to this level like I'm looking for.
Yeah, I would agree.
So that's looking quite nice there on Tesla. Let's just see on the 5-minute where we came into. So on the 5-minute, we came into a gap right there. So that looks pretty good for a bounce. If I go back to the 1-minute, we came right into that gap and just wicking at midpoint. So see how they just wick all tails there, tails. And now we're pushing back out. So if you didn't like that first one, and if you weren't positive and sure about it, you could always go back in on the current one. So we get a sweep, the move up, sweep, drop back in. Now we get a sweep here. So another retrace would give you another opportunity here.
So we're still looking for a 1, 2, 3 bottom.
Yeah, so we've got a nice one there. And so we've got another gap forming. We've got, this should make a gap here. So
is there a 1, 2, 3 there now? Oh, I didn't see that 1, 2, 3.
So the second one's just about to form now. So now we're looking for a pullback into this gap to continue the move back up.
Oh, okay.
Will we get a pullback? Maybe, maybe not, because we've got a 1, 2, 3 already. So sometimes they don't pull back.
Your eyes are better than mine.
And the reason why we don't pull back sometimes into these gaps, because a lot of people are expecting that pullback. The reason why we don't pull back is because the candle that made the gap, this one here, it closed way above the previous one. So when it closes way above, there's no guarantee that we're going to get a pullback to go below that low again. So that's why it will take off without you. If that makes sense to everybody, that's a little secret, little tidbit there that's huge. So you get the gap, which starts here, you get the gap, starts, ends. So because we closed above the candle that made the gap, and we closed up high above it, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a closure or a wick back down or a tail back down into this gap that's here, because there's so much momentum to the upside. And you see, we just came back just a little bit and then continue up. So it's the best entry was here, and you catch that move.
I wish I could program my brain to think like yours.
Give it time. We're working on that.
There's so many little nuances here, but Peter, you're doing quite well. So you catch a little move like that, you make a quick $300. It's great, It's all good.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, but you see things that I don't see. It'll take time.
That song says, "If you could see the world through my eyes." Maybe you don't want to.
No, I'm all for that. I'm keen to get better at this game.
So my goal every time I'm trading is just not to lose. But it's, a tough assignment.
Well, that's why I hesitated to go short on Tesla when I only grabbed $300, but I was hesitant because Tesla has a really bad habit of moving against you quickly.
Yeah, they all do.
It can move against you $2. That's $600 in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I really wait perhaps too long, like I did to go short, but because I was just worried about price going against me. And I like you, I hate to lose, so I'd rather get $300 than to lose $300.
So here's like, if we look at where you were at this point here, over here, the little tidbits. That's why I'm drawing these gaps. I'm drawing them without having them being put on by the indicator, because then you can see what I'm doing. So there's a gap right there. So when you get a 1, 2, 3, like this one, the first one,
yeah,
price back up.
Yeah.
And then you get another one that goes down and breaks that low right there. When it breaks that low, we're expecting price to come back up into that gap. See? And the price goes into the gap. It just wicks through it. It doesn't close above it or anything. It's respecting that gap. So that's a sell.
Yeah.
So that's a sell. So that would have been at 239.
Yeah.
That's a sell. And then you get another one. See, they break it again. They come down and they go back in. Where are they going back into? They're going back into, there's an order block. See, that blue candle is an order block. So they go back, there's no gap. So they go back into the order block. That's what I was saying, order blocks or gaps. So the order block, they go back into that. So again, it's a sell to drop.
See, I missed your first 1, 2, 3. I see it now, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, so that first one is the best one because it came back also into a gap, right, into an order block right there. So that one is really good.
I didn't see that one.
And again, if you drew your DeMark line, you would have caught that as well.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So here we go with going up now. You see how they come back? They come back to the gap. See, they've come back to that gap and touching the gap. So will they bounce off the gap and continue to the upside. That's what we would kind of expect here because we've hit bottom. We've got a 1, 2, 3. So we would expect a bounce to the upside here. We wouldn't expect them to come down and take out this low. Possible, of course, but that wouldn't be expected. We would want to see this price going to the upside. So that would be a buy on Tesla, especially when they touched right there. You just buy it on the touch. You can wait for confirmation. Confirmation would be either a fractal like what we're getting now, so you buy right there, or you can wait for them to break the high, or even this guy, break that one, pull back in again, and then go. So that means you're getting another 1, 2, 3 here. So that's the confirmation. So I like to, on this one, I prefer to just jump in right there, because if you wait till up here, then your risk becomes higher and so on. My risk would be smaller here because I'm just going below the candle here that made the gap.
Yeah, see how it's
painting those gaps for me now. It paints them green because I'm getting a change of character. They're breaking that high. It's a change of character. So that's what we would expect, that they would break that. And now we would expect them to come back in to make that 1, 2, 3, and then we go. So if that makes sense, so I would draw a gap here now, although this candle still has 40 seconds before it finishes, but I could draw it anyways. I can put a gap here. So I'm looking for a gap to be created here. So it still has 30 seconds before this candle closes. So you can't put a gap there technically until that candle closes. So I'd be looking for price when price closes now. When this candle closes, I'm looking for price to come back into the gap and go. But it all depends on where it closes. So you see, just like we talked about down here, where we got a gap and they close above, really high above, they don't come back. But they did eventually.
Yeah.
But not right away. So it could be the same thing here. So now we've got a gap for sure because the candle closed. So now we can safely draw that gap because that's there. So now when they come back into the gap.
Can you explain what a gap is? I'm sorry, my brain is not working very quickly today. But what is a gap?
Okay, the gap is this low candle right here.
Yeah.
We went up, then the next candle opened and we went up, and then the next candle opened and we went up. But there's no candles here in between. There's no wick. There's nothing. So this is a gap, a fair value gap, as opposed to a regular gap, which is just between two candles. So when it's just between two candles, like here, there's just a regular gap. You see?
Okay.
But this is between three candles. So you're using three candles as your gap.
I put some information in on that in the chat, Peter.
Okay, thanks, George.
So I can draw a box in between that gap like that. And that gives me a gauge. So I'm expecting price to possibly come back and touch that gap and give me an opportunity for an entry, just like here. So I drew the gap, looking for price to come back into the gap. They didn't do it right away. They took a while and they came back and did it. But sometimes they just don't even come back. They just go.
So the market makers know all about gaps?
Well, I'm sure they're aware of it now. Yeah. So you see, they've come back into the gap. So this could be a buy opportunity at this point. However, you have to look at, of course, the overall, right? You can't just, because from here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do we really want to buy here to go up now? Possibly, but you know what I mean? You have to be careful.
No, I'm done for the day.
So what I was expecting was that, remember, I was expecting this move. I'm expecting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that move, and then to come back down. So do I really want to be buying up here? Yeah, I could, but you know what I mean. Is it worthwhile to go from 238 to 240? Yeah, maybe. I mean, for you in Tesla, yes, $2 is $2, but so you get the idea, anyways.
See, the problem we have is that the market makers are probably listening to your lessons and reacting accordingly.
Well, as
teaching a
we
lot of
were
market-
talking there, you know, I was just watching Bitcoin, and it's set up just perfectly. Just this is what same thing as Tesla got to get a nice gap there. They come back into the gap. So you see how they do it. It's all the same, no matter what the instrument is. So they go up, they break the previous high, they come back in to the gap, and boom, off they go. So this is just money set up all the time. And if you see how they came, you see how this red candle closed outside of this gap? This red candle right there closed outside of the gap.
Which gap
It's
are you
quite
referring
interesting. There is also an inverted gap on the other side. So that's another story for another day, maybe, but there's an inverted gap there, and it's very close to being almost perfect. They came and they still closed outside of the gap, but not by much. So quite interesting how it all works. But this gap kind of held and they moved. So it's technically it didn't hold because they did close outside of it, but it's so close. Like, you know, you have to kind of give it.
So that gap is the blue candle?
The gap here would be this blue candle right here and this blue candle right here. That makes the gap right there.
Oh, okay.
So it's three candles that make the gap. You get one there like that, and then you have another one in between, and then you have another one down here. So the high of this candle and the low of this candle don't come together. So like here, for instance, you've got there's another gap right there. See, we got one candle, two candles, three candles. So there's a gap. So here's three candles, 1, 2, 3, but there's a candle in between, so there's no gap. But these three, there's a gap.
I see.
You see?
I see. That's pretty cool.
It's really powerful, actually. And that's all thanks to ICT, Mr. Michael Huddleston. I think that's his name.
Well, I should have taken that long trade on Tesla because it's moved up nicely.
You said it was Michael Huggleson?
Michael J. Huddleston. Huddle, like in a huddle in the football.
Oh, Huddle. Michael J.
Huddleston. So it's not somebody's son, Huddle. It's not a son at the end. It's a ton at the end. Huddle's ton. Interesting.
The 2,000-pound man.
Yeah, he's yeah. So his okay, where are we? Oh, we're into macro time. I'm forgetting about macro time. I'm missing macro time. Let's see what's okay. So we're getting the drop now. Okay. So the macro has kicked in right at 10 minutes too, and they are dropping it down. So Tesla would be probably turning to the downside. Oh, so they spiked it up first. Wow. So interesting. So we did get
240, 30.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right back into that gap. See that gap I had up there? They came back into that gap. Interesting, eh? Right there.
They came down to that gap on the
And
way.
they came into this gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they took off. And now they came into the gap at the top, which is one I was expecting them to come back to. And now I'm expecting them to drop it now.
So why did they come back to a gap? Like what's the rationale?
The rationale is that when price was moving up here, it gave only buyers a chance to do anything. So only the blue candle, only buyers, right? So to give fair value, they call it a fair value gap, to give fair value to the other traders, the sellers, they have to allow price to come back into that gap.
Oh, yeah.
And that gives fair value to the both sides, the buyers and sellers.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very interesting. Eh?
Quite often is typically when you get very rapid, high volatility price movement and it just gaps. And you go back to fill a gap quite often.
So here's one where they've given only the sellers opportunity to get into this move down. So they'll go back in, and they did right there to give buyers an opportunity to get a chance in to get so they can have fair value, as they say.
Wow.
But I saw a gap on the Tesla chart from back in October, November when the election was on. It was at 245, and it did go back down there.
Yes,
I mean, we're in
they're
that
very
area
powerful.
now.
Yeah, they do go back to them.
Hard to believe that it went all the way up to 475 first.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because if I go to the monthly time frame on the chart, and you mark off a gap on there, price will gravitate back to that gap. So it's very, very powerful stuff. There's a gap here, so it's possible this gap on the monthly time frame could be entered again. That's not good. Don't want to see that. But that's how powerful those gaps are. So you see how powerful this gap is. We came back. I'm not even looking to play here, but we came back into that gap. See how they came back into the gap, and off they go. So they gave the sellers the first chance here, and then they gave the buyers a chance to get in. And now
Wow.
that's the big drop here. So
Wow.
and so if I mark off fair value gaps down here, there's one here. So we've come back into that one now. So there's no other gaps down here except for this order block right there, this block of sell orders right here.
Yeah.
So this could be a turning point for price back to the upside, because remember, we're looking for price to continue going up, not going down. So this is just more of a fake out move.
Yeah.
Right? I'm looking for the price to go back up. So remember, I was saying that this is like a fourth wave area, and we could see this kind of thing. So
you see, what I worry most about is like what you see on Tesla on the 1 minute chart now, gapping down. Now I worry about getting into a trade and then all of a sudden price does that. Like Tesla can move very quickly in a heartbeat.
Yes, and at this time of day, of course, yes, they can do that. So that was the expected move, that they would go back up. Remember, I marked it out earlier. I said I'm looking for that move because they've done 5 waves. I'm expecting them to do that and then drop it down.
Yeah.
So this is what they're doing, and that's the expectation. Not like I'm smarter than anybody else. It's just an expectation of the move based on our structure. So that's it.
Yeah, all the more reason to get into like that 1, 2, 3 bottom on the 1 minute chart. Tesla, that would have been the time to get into that trade, because then you have lots of room for mistakes.
So look at that. They've gone through the gap now. So if they close below the gap, then this gap is no longer in force. So we have to wait for that candle. I'm on the 5 minute now, so that's going to take another few minutes. But you can mark the next gap, for instance. Next gap is way down here. So it is possible for them to come all the way down here, or they might just come to the order block right there. And they've touched the order block. So you see, like if I mark that order block, which I don't like to mark the order blocks because I can see it pretty good with the just being red. So they touched it. So that could be enough for them to push price back to the upside. So if I go back to the 1 minute, that's probably enough. That would be enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to buy NASDAQ here to go back up, because they come and touch the order block and you're giving me a nice fractal here. And I would look for them to push price back to the upside. So basically what they've done is come down, swept everybody out who were buying. And now we'd be looking for them to turn it around and go back up. Wow. Because my overall structure is what I'm looking for them to go back up. Doesn't mean I'm going to be correct.
Tesla's going up now.
So where would I put my stop? Just below that wick tail. So we'll look for another push back to the upside here on NASDAQ. So it looks like they want to take me out. They might come back down and take out that low.
Looks like Tesla's done for the day.
Couple more minutes on Tesla there, eh? Oh, so they did take me out. Oh, that hurts. Okay, so Tesla's got, we can see what Tesla is doing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should fall one more time, take out all these lows. So NAS, wow. So I might have put my stop a bit too tight. I didn't want to put it right at the bottom, just in case they decide to go through one more time. But sometimes you need to do that. We'll see if they might just be doing that to sweep one more time. And then so sometimes it's probably best to just wait for the whole setup to give you that 1, 2, 3. But at this time of day, it can be really fast. You don't get a chance to get in at all. So yeah, so it looks like they're taking that low out. Okay, so let's see S&P. S&P's already taken the low.
We have the bell.
So Tesla now at the bell. Yeah, they're still up there. So we would expect Tesla to come down and take out these lows. So we might have a gap open down tomorrow morning. So there's NAS. So now NAS has given us the sweep. They've come down into the middle of our order block. Here's the midpoint.
I have to go, Lennox. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good show.
Thanks for dropping in. You're leaving too, George?
Take care, everyone.
You're gone too,
Thank
George?
you, Lennox.
All right, no problem. Take care. All right, 2 left. Okay, so I'm looking for, don't like losing. I told you guys, don't like losing. So I'm gonna see if I can get my money back here. So I was a little premature on that one. I can see that I was being a bit premature because we touched that and we went back up and it looked pretty good, but I also have a 1, 2, 3 here. So that's controlling the move. So I really shouldn't be jumping in at this point. I should be waiting for breach of the lows, retrace back up.
Well, tomorrow, what do you think about tomorrow? You think we might see a little bit of rebound? Yeah, I'm expecting price to continue up because we're just in a 4th wave area here. So we could, to overnight here, we could certainly chop up and down in here, but eventually head to the upside one more time. So it looks like Asia might just put us into a channel here. So you see they're coming down towards this lower gap. Interesting. So we can get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. Order block, take that off. So it looks like they're coming down to this gap. Yeah, I need to go here. I think pretty soon too. Here, I just gotta spend
Okay,
some
no
time
problem.
here.
All right.
But I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning. Like I see a big gap on Tesla, anyways. The gap down this morning, so
Yeah, it looks like they're going to do the same thing tomorrow morning, perhaps.
gap down again.
Possible. I mean, it all depends on what happens overnight, but it's poised. It could drop one more time, or they could just bounce straight up from here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
hard to say what they will do at the opening. Very difficult to say.
In terms of a percentage today, it went down about 4.83, which I'd call that a medium move on Tesla. Usually it's around 3% up or down. A big move would be about 5%. 10% would be really big, but it tends to move about $20 in a day. Today it had a high of 245 and a low of 232, so that's about $12, $13.
$13, not bad. If you catch, $5, $10 of that, you're doing pretty good, right?
Yeah, if you can get all of it, you're doing really good.
Yeah.
MSTR.
All right, so I'm going to try jumping in again on NAS here. We might be at the bottom here. They came very close to touching this gap, so they might come down one more time, or that might be it. So I'm going to take the chance here that's it.
Qubit has dropped back down to around $8. So it's up as high as 19% for the day.
That's good.
Oh, I got to go.
All right.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay,
Okay, Stacy, I'll call it a day as well.
And then there were two.
And thanks for dropping in. And for those on YouTube, thanks for dropping in on us here. Please give us a like and subscribe if you find
Okay.
us.
Thanks, Lennox.
All right, Stacy, take care.